It's Saturday night,
The kids are in bed,
which means we did it. We survived another week.
so let's talk about it.
From our latest homebrew project,
To kids' crafting project.
it's just talking life with two young kids and two dogs. Grab your favorite beverage, sit back,
Relax.
and see where the conversation takes us.
Sometimes we don't even know until we get there. This is the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Craft Parenting Podcast, the podcast about two Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a moderate to slight parenting problem.
You know, moderate is more than slight, right? And the proper way to do a range is from lowest to highest, not highest to lowest.
That is opinion. That is an opinion.
I'm just going to be like Marco, and I'm going to state my opinion like it's fact and expect everyone to adhere to it. Though now everyone on Shift Beers is also singing my name. It's very weird. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, at least it's not Sweet Caroline, but I think I like Sweet Caroline more than the Outcast song.
Well, at least you're not being named after a potential pedophile.
This is true. But also, how are people supposed to know who I am? You haven't introduced me. Or you. Who are you? Do I know who you are?
Well, thanks so much for being here. My name is Joe Ludwig, and that voice that you hear is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline.
Wait, I thought I was Joe.
That's not what the script says.
Oh, this is true. The script does say that I'm Caroline.
How's it going, Caroline?
Pretty good. I am officially out of a boot. I am attempting to physical therapy to not ever be in a boot again. Knock on wood. Knock on all of the wood things.
We have a wood table for our Patreon platinum members. Super platinum members can see that.
The cameras are here, here, and there.
You have 3 cameras?
One for the whole table, one for your face, and one for my face.
Ah, okay. And I guess Elliot is producing.
Yeah, he watches them all simultaneously and cuts the feed and like pieces it all together like the sports ball.
He does. He's a very talented 9-month-old.
He is so talented.
But wow, we derailed very early in this episode.
We did. Love you.
We have another great show planned out for you. We're just coming out of the week of Thanksgiving, and we're into the holiday season.
I mean, apparently we didn't have it as good, bad, busy as my coworker. She had 7 Thanksgivings that she attended.
We had 4.
Yeah, and that was still like too many.
One of them was yours.
Yes, one of them I cooked from scratch. We'll get there.
But it's the week of Thanksgiving, I guess.
Technically, yes. It's still the weekend or week of Thanksgiving.
It's a long weekend, and it's the holiday season, and we are going to discuss all of our favorite Christmas movies.
We will answer the hard questions like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Stay tuned to find out.
I think you just triggered half of our audience.
We'll see.
So let's dive in and get started. So we had a busy week.
We did. We have a whole episode about Sunday, which is us recovering from BBB, Boys, Boobs, Beers?
Beer, booze, bonks.
Oh, yeah, it was beers, beers, booze, and bonks.
You have boobs on your mind, I guess.
It starts with B. I don't know. It's really hard to say, especially after you've had beers. So we have a whole episode about that. But then the real fun began on Monday because everyone was down with the sickness. Elliot was the one who got this party started. Lily soon joined him, and then I joined them both. And then Mom got sick, and then Larry got sick. It sounds like Lily, Elliot, Mom, and Larry are for sure still sick. I feel pretty good now. I'm still a little congested, but it could just be allergies because I forgot to take my allergy meds like 3 days in a row.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up, but I have not been sick.
No, you got out of it somehow.
I don't know how. I've been doing the same stuff you have.
Yeah, so that's been working its way through our family this week.
Not COVID.
No, not COVID. Definitely a cold. Just sucks. On Wednesday, Elliot had his 9-month well check. He is 21 pounds and like 29.5 inches long. Boy is big. And I had to hold him a bunch today. And I was like, oh my goodness, I just want to put you down, but I can't.
Lily weighs a lot more than that, though.
She does.
So if you hold Lily all the time like I do, and then you hold Elliot, it's like,
But Lily helps you a little bit more sometimes.
No, she knows how to be weightless if she wants to.
But you can also set her down and not necessarily have to, like, she's going to mostly stay on her feet. You cannot set Elliot down because he's just going to start crawling and running away and just put his hands on everything.
He is a fast crawler, too.
He is. He can zoom.
I don't remember Lily ever doing that.
Yeah. So what did you do on Wednesday, Hubs?
Well, I worked.
I worked as well, but my VPN doesn't work anymore, so I could only do so much. I was also watching Two Small Children, which kind of hindered my ability to get lots of productive things done.
But I think what you're alluding to is I decided to edit the Thursday episode podcast, the Thanksgiving episode where we give thanks. I decided to edit that in our bed while watching. What were we watching?
No, you weren't watching anything. You were just editing in bed. I was downstairs doing something, and I come upstairs because I'm like, okay, I'm going to get into bed, maybe hang out with Joe for a bit, listen to the podcast while he edits it. And I get into the bedroom, and I'm like, Joe looks pretty still. Joe's eyes are closed. And like his head raises up a little bit, he clicks some buttons, and then he for sure falls back asleep. So I recorded a video of him because I am a loving wife and eventually made enough noise to wake him up so he could be like, hey, what's going on? Did I fall asleep? No, honey, you didn't fall asleep. It's fine.
But so that just proves that I am dedicated to my work.
You are very dedicated to your work.
But you did make me turn the computer off. So I didn't get the podcast out as early as I wanted to.
But you did need your rest because Thursday was a day.
It was indeed a day. It was a day of 2 Thanksgivings, which I am used to.
I mean, I'm mostly used to it by now, too. We've done up to 3 Thanksgivings in one day before. We didn't eat a meal at every single one.
Right.
But we've done it before.
Yeah, but with 2 kids who are mildly sick.
And need naps.
Yeah, that was the challenging part that we haven't had in years past.
Yeah.
And we talked about our family traditions in a previous episode.
Yeah, so we went to your parents' house for lunch, put the kids down for a nap after lunch, and then said the dogs will be fine. And once we got the kids up from their naps at your parents' house, went straight to the east side of town.
We crossed the border.
Yep. Somehow we made it across without any trouble. The popo didn't find us. And we had dinner at your aunt's house over in Terrace Park.
So far away.
It was so far away.
I left my jacket over there, too.
Well, we'll just have to go out to 50 West to go pick it up.
Or Little Miami.
Or Little Miami. Or Big Ash. Or one of the, other breweries that's out there. Or all of them.
Street Side.
Oh, yeah, Street Side's out there, too.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we'll just have to go to a brewery and go swing by your aunt's house on the way. Or yeah, definitely on the way, not after, because we won't want to go after. Or we'll just meet them at a brewery.
I don't think they do that.
I don't know. We'll find out.
The sickness, as we said, it started to spread.
Yeah, but family was totally fine with us bringing sick children places.
I mean, they didn't have a fever.
They didn't have a fever. They just had stuffy noses. And at that point, they weren't too bad.
Yeah.
But we had a nice time hanging out with family, ate a lot of really tasty food. And then on Friday, we made it a day of rest for the most part.
Well, you cooked a turkey and...
I cooked a turkey breast.
You cooked a turkey breast, a small 3-pound turkey breast.
Yeah, so I didn't have to start making dinner until 2 p.m. as opposed to 11 a.m. because it didn't need as much cooking time.
But I managed to escape.
You did.
I managed to get to Westside Brewing, which had a release. They released a cold brew imperial stout, which clocks in at 11% ABV.
Ooh, I need to drink that. It sounds yummy. I don't
Yeah.
drink cold brew coffee as much as you do, though.
The IBU is up there. I'm assuming that's because of the bitterness from the coffee comes through versus bitterness from like actual hops. But I
Yeah.
haven't tried it. Apparently, it was on draft, but I didn't see it. Or maybe it wasn't on draft until that night because on Instagram I saw that Julia got a flight of the cold brew,
Oh.
Imperial Stout cold brew.
Maybe they were serving it out of cans?
I don't know.
They do that from time to time.
I don't remember seeing it, but also I was driving.
Yeah, you had to drive back home. I wasn't going to
You
let
made me
get
go to Kroger to get bread.
It
on
was
Black
a
Friday.
suggestion.
It was not a suggestion.
It was if you wanted your wife to enjoy some toasty bread with the delicious compound butter she was making.
It was highly, highly suggested.
You
But
could have not gotten it. You would have potentially not had a place to sleep, but you could have not gotten it.
wow. You see, that's not a choice. You
But
see.
I make you think that it is.
No, it's not a choice. But we didn't get out to.
We do not do Black Friday sales.
We didn't do the retail sales, nor did we do the early morning releases. Brink had quite a few delicious stuff. I know that a bunch of other breweries did as well.
There were so many releases.
But with
Wasn't it like Ray Ray Day?
at Listerman.
Yeah, it was Ray Ray Day at
Mhm.
Listerman. Street Side had some stuff. Was it Street Side? Was it Demigorgon Day? No, Demigorgon Day is Halloween-ish. Street Side had some releases. Sonder had some releases. Like, everybody had some releases.
Sonder was releasing Family Traditions, which I've never had.
I've been told it's good.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we'll have to make it happen.
But we did not make it happen, except for the West Side Imperial Stout with cold brew.
Yeah.
I made that happen, but I was sneaky because you needed bread, and I just happened to.
Volunteer to go to the store while
But-
I slaved away over a hot stove and oven.
While the kids were sleeping.
While I slaved away over a hot stove and oven. It was some pretty tasty food.
Oh, yeah, it was very tasty. I haven't had a bad turkey this year, nor any other years of my life
That I've made.
that anyone has made, but especially you.
There you go.
Saturday, the kids were wired.
Well, I mean,
Because we didn't do anything on Friday. They were wired on Saturday.
they needed to rest on Friday, though. They just weren't totally fine with it in the end.
Oh, yeah, they needed to, but they didn't have a way to release their energy. So on Saturday morning, I suggested that we go to one of our favorite local coffee places. And it was your choice.
Yeah, we went to White Oak Coffee because they are on the way. Like, if we go on the way home from the coffee shop, we can swing by a really nice park.
Yeah, it
And
was a nice day. It was kind of cold, maybe like mid-40s.
It was chilly, but it was sunny, so it wasn't so bad.
Right.
And it wasn't terribly windy.
So we decided to stop at a park. As you said, we stopped at West Fork Park, which has a brand new playground. It's really big.
Yeah.
Really nice.
We have a blog post about it.
Yes, we do. No, we have a.
We have blog posts about multiple parks.
We have a not a blog post, a podcast episode.
Oh, yeah, it was a podcast.
Really nice. Lily had a really good time.
She
She was brave enough to go to the top and
She
go down
did.
the slide.
And she mildly regretted her decision once she got to the top, but her mama was with her, so it was fine.
Yeah, you kind of had a core horse.
Yeah, I was just like, hey, come sit on mommy's lap. And
Right
down the
down.
giant slide we go.
Yeah, it was a covered slide, which I'm not a fan of covered slides.
Yeah, she wasn't a super fan of it that day either. I think she wants to see where it's going.
So she had a good time.
She did. She had a blast. There were a few other children there. About as many kids as I thought would be there, considering the weather situation.
Yeah, but she had a good time. We stayed probably an hour, and then we had to rush home and get lunch. Put
Yep.
the kids down early as we could, because that evening, like 4 o'clock,
Was
5
chaos.
o'clock, we went to my dad's side for Thanksgiving.
Lovable chaos.
Probably 25 people.
Yeah.
We didn't have enough chairs, which was a first.
Well, we did, but they weren't in the right spots. I don't know. Magically, we had more chairs, but like everybody starts sitting down at the table, and you kind of have to claim your spot early. But they pretty much organize people by age. And Joe and myself go to sit down, and we're like, wait, we don't have any chairs. So we had to find chairs so we could actually sit down. And Lily was on one end of the table and Elliot was on the other end of the table. I don't know how much or what they ate. People volunteered to look after our kids, and I was like, sweet, yep, they're all yours.
I think Jenna was more voluntold.
She kind of was, yeah. She's like, Lily's eating all of my food. Well, that's because Lily eats more food than you do, like variety-wise. So everything on your plate, she likes.
Lily discovered that she really likes candy carrots.
Well, just steamed carrots. The sugar's an added bonus, but she will eat steamed carrots.
I think every single carrot that she's had over the last week, over the last few days has had some kind of sugar on it.
Mine didn't have a lot of sugar on it or a lot of butter. I was good.
But it did have sugar on it.
A little bit.
That's why they're called candy carrots.
Yeah.
And she discovered them and she really likes them.
It was really adorable because we were eating leftovers one day. It might have been like Saturday for lunch, and Joe had some candied carrots on his plate. Lily had some on her plate, and I had some on my plate. And Lily ate all of her carrots first, and then looked at Joe and said, "Carrots," and pointed to his plate. So then he gave her some carrots off of his plate, to which I then immediately started shoving my carrots into my mouth because, no, you do not get to eat all of my carrots too. You need to eat other foods. I think she got 1 or 2 carrots off of my plate, though, because she ate hers faster than I ate mine. But she had fewer than I did. But like every meal, she had carrots. I'm surprised she didn't turn into a carrot.
But yes, it was very much chaos.
Because so the consensus was we need to cater next year.
That's not going to help.
We also probably need to do a buffet line because
that would probably help.
Because right now everything is served family style, where there's like 2 gravy boats and like 2 pats of butter, but everything else there is a dish. So if you want some mashed potatoes, you better get them when the dish comes around, or beg for the dish back.
You were yelling at me for doing that.
You weren't telling me what you were doing. I was trying to put things on my plate as you were like literally throwing things onto my plate. It was very confused. It was very overwhelming.
I was protecting your serving of fried potatoes, which if you've listened to our previous episode about Thanksgiving, you will know that
German food.
Yeah, and that one. You will know that fried potatoes is a family staple of mine.
Yeah.
At Thanksgiving in particular.
Yeah. So I stayed out of the kitchen after all the food was done. I hung out with Oma because the kitchen sounded like chaos, and I was like, they don't need me in there. They've got it covered.
It was chaos. People were shouting at me from the kitchen. People were shouting at me from the other room.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened. I just hung out with Oma and tied fleece-tied blankets for my craft fair on the next day.
During dinner? No, after dinner.
After dinner.
Oh, I was running after Lily after dinner.
Yes, you were.
And the football game was on, and Alabama was embarrassed.
They squeaked out a win.
And 4 overtimes.
Yeah, that was a bit dramatic.
It was way too dramatic for who they were playing. And Ohio State lost, but the Bearcats won. So
that's the important thing.
Yeah, we're happy about that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And next episode, I'll have an update on how my craft fair went.
Because you did that on Sunday.
Yep.
Or you will do that on Sunday.
Yep, because that's tomorrow in podcast time land.
So that was our week. So now is the part of the program where Caroline tells us what is bugging her in children's TV, because as parents of 2 tiny children, we have to watch what they watch, and they like to watch the same things over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
So Caroline, what is bugging you in children's TV this week?
So this week is a continuation of last week, where I'm going to continue to talk about the Little Mermaid. Last week was all about how Ariel is in fact a child, and what are you doing marrying a man that you barely know because you've known him for like 3 days. You've watched him from afar. What if you hate the way he chews? Like, come on, girl, get it together. This week is about how King Triton, while I'm sure he is trying his best as a single father to, it's like 7 girls. I need to look up how many children he has.
346 minutes later.
It is, in fact, 7 daughters.
Including Ariel?
Including Ariel. Ariel is number 7. So, I'm sure he is trying his best as a single dad to 7 girls because, that's hard. Even being one of 2 parents to 2 children is hard sometimes. But his response...
What if Eric killed Ariel's mom?
Whoa.
That's some crazy
Yeah, we're not going to go there. So instead of having a conversation with Ariel about, hey, so this is what I need you to know about humans. They fish indiscriminately. They don't care about the environment. They pollute a bunch. They murder each other all the time. Overall, they're just terrible beings. His solution to the problem, quote unquote, of Ariel loving, quote unquote, a human boy is to yell at her and destroy all of her worldly possessions that she cherishes, which is just going to drive a wedge in their relationship and make it so she never wants to talk to him about anything ever again.
Can I play devil's advocate?
You're wrong, but sure.
Before he does that, he warns her, don't go to the surface. Humans are dangerous. You know this. That's what he tells her. So he probably has had those conversations with her.
Yeah, but it's still, don't destroy all of Homegirl's worldly possessions that she cherishes, because she's never going to talk to you ever again. She's just going to run away.
That was an overreaction.
Give her voice
sure.
to the sea witch and make it so you turn into a tiny little shrimp thing trying to save her from this contract that she signed. This could have been avoided if you hadn't overreacted. Just
maybe don't send a crab.
Gone into your closet, screamed into your heavy winter coats for 5 minutes, exited your closet and said, okay, I understand where you're coming from. Let's sit down and have a rational conversation about this. That would have been a better way to handle the situation.
But then there wouldn't have been a story. There would have been no conflict.
Again, this isn't how to fix the plot of children's movies. This is what is bugging me in movies. And I'm trying to teach people how to be better parents in the process. Or more about physics. But this isn't one of those times.
Well, if you are getting parenting advice from the Little Mermaid, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, maybe just don't do that. Definitely pick and choose your Disney movies as far as parents go, if you're looking for advice.
Or maybe just don't get advice from Disney movies or movies in general.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Enchanted's pretty good. That still holds up.
We'll talk about that later, maybe. So, Caroline, I noticed that you have an adult beverage in front of you. What are you drinking?
I am drinking a Fugi, a brown ale with maple from Fretboard Brewing Company. It is 6.4% and 15 IBUs, and I believe that you have drank it on the show before. So it's delicious. It tastes like breakfast. So breakfast. It's what's for dinner dessert. It's yummy.
What is the Folgers song? The best part about podcasting is Fuji in your cup.
That sounds right.
They should hire me for their marketing positions.
Is this going to be like that episode of The Office where Andy's like, give me a break, break me off a piece of that. Wait, what is it? And Jim's like, nobody tell him. And at the end, he's like, fancy feast. I got it.
That's a pretty funny episode.
It is a pretty good episode.
My other favorite episode that I really liked of The Office, completely derailing from the conversation
again,
but I really like the episode where Meredith gets rabies and they start the charity in her honor.
The Meredith Memorial Walk to find a cure for it. We went on a walk. We did a 5K somewhere, and someone was wearing that shirt, and it was hilarious. But what are you drinking? Or are you too busy Googling?
Oh, I'm Googling. It's Michael Scott's, Dunder Mifflin, Scranton, Meredith Palmer, Memorial Celebrity Rabies Awareness Pro-Am Fun Run Race for the Cure.
Even an acronym wouldn't make that any better.
It was episode It was the first and second episode of the fourth season. I believe that was the season that was ruined by the writer's strike.
Maybe.
Because it was short.
Probably then. But Hubs, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a porter from West Side Brewing over here on the west side.
Wait, West Side Brewing is on the west side of town?
Supposed to say best side.
I mean, West Side, Best Side.
Yes.
But
it's in Westwood.
West Side, Best Side goes without saying. Like,
and I'm drinking a porter from them in a can. The ABV is 5.8, IBU 42. Although it doesn't taste like a 42 IBU can you drink. It's very smooth and tasty.
I'll have to have that later.
Cheers to the weekend, and Lord help us in the week ahead, because starting tomorrow, we are going to have to do it all over again. More crazy adventures are ahead, and we will make sure to share them with you each week right here on the Craft Parenting Podcast. And now, on to the main topic of this week's episode, where we are going to discuss our favorite Christmas movies.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Easter movies. I'll make it work. It's fine.
Mel Gibson is going to be a little disappointed in this episode. If that's the case. But we didn't really put these in any type of order, unless you want me to do that now.
I mean, Muppets Christmas Carol, arguably best Christmas movie of all time.
Okay, we're just gonna go right in. Okay.
I mean, if you're making me go up to bat for one of these.
So we're going from best to worst.
That works pretty okay with this list. I mean,
a second.
It's my top 5.
We're gonna go by release order.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna watch the dock shift in front of my face.
One eternity later.
We're good now.
So, as I'm sure will end up being in the blooper reel, Joe decided that we were going to change up the order. And instead of going in the original order, we're going to go by release date. I guess that works.
We are going by release date because that makes sense to me.
Okay. So, the first movie in our list is Christmas Vacation, which was released in 1989, directed by Jeremiah S. Cheshik, and stars Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, and Randy Quaid. It's based on a short story called Christmas 59, written by John Hughes, published in National Lampoon, because it's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
It is indeed National Lampoon's. They have quite a few movies out there in the universe. I think National Lampoon, it was before my time, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But I think it was a comedy magazine that was distributed.
I mean, that sounds like a thing that would have existed in the 80s. So
I think it was more the 70s.
That also sounds like a thing. I don't know.
So they did a bunch of movies, National Lampoon movies. And I was actually surprised when I was doing some producing. I was surprised that Christmas Vacation was released in 1989. I thought it was older than it was.
It does look a lot more dated than Home Alone does, even though they were only released a year apart. So theoretically, they were only filmed a year apart.
Yeah, you would think. Chevy Chase is one of the original cast members of SNL. He's a comedian. Most recently, he's in the Community TV show, 6 seasons in a movie.
Yep.
Although he was kicked out. I don't know a whole lot about that, but he was...
That's not what we're here to talk about.
No, but this movie is really funny.
It is a good one. I don't think I'd really watched it until I met you.
Well, yeah, it's one of our favorites, like as my mom, my dad's side. And growing up, I mentioned this in a previous episode, we would do family movie night often. Sometimes everyone would complain. You came in and you would be forced into that later.
I mean, I came in when y'all were getting very much over it, but Jenna was super into it.
Well, Jenna would pick the movies, and the movies wouldn't be very good. But especially around Thanksgiving, it was our tradition to go to the movies and go out to eat and then to a movie as a family, which we didn't really do a whole lot back in the day before Jenna. So we obviously didn't see Christmas Vacation in the theaters because, well, I was born in 1989.
It's the same age as you. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was definitely one of those movies that we would all gather around on a whatever night, especially during the holidays, to watch as a family. And it's kind of a slapsticky, like gimmicky, like comedy.
Yeah. Has some very iconic moments in it that people like to parody.
Yes.
Or like recreate with their children.
Yes. Uncle Eddie is the showstopper here when he comes in midway through the movie. He steals the show, in my opinion. Chevy Chase is just the guy. He's like, ugh, this is my family. We're all misfits.
Yep.
Very relatable. It's a great movie, and it's a classic. So on to Home Alone, which of course was released in 1990, directed by Chris Columbus, who has directed quite a few films in his day, especially the first two Harry Potter movies.
Yep, those are especially of note.
I think he got that gig because of Home Alone and his ability to direct children. I think they talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why they wanted to use him.
But
I want to say he had done like Oliver Twist as well. Oliver Twist might have been a big thing to do with it as well.
I didn't look up he has a very long list. But it stars Macaulay Culkin. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, John Hurd, and Catherine O'Hara. The soundtrack, the music of this movie, was composed by the great John Williams.
I mean,
It has
it's a very distinctive score.
Yes, there's two songs that are distinctive. I think the rest are like popish, like previous recorded songs. I think if you turn on the radio, Warm 98 or whatever, that a station that plays Christmas music, you will definitely get, to this day, 30 years later, they'll play songs from the soundtrack because it's so iconic.
So Christopher Columbus has directed children a lot, but a lot of these movies that are in his filmography are like not even ones that he directed. So I'm so confused.
Well, I feel like
What are you doing?
he was a producer.
Oh yeah, it might have just been that he was a producer on a bunch of stuff.
He probably had his own studio, and that's how what's his face got the Harry Potter gig.
Yeah,
Daniel Radcliffe, because his dad was a producer with Chris Columbus, and he knew him. Of course, Daniel Radcliffe had to audition.
he did, but like Chris begged him to audition.
Yeah, so he definitely earned it by auditioning, but he got through the door because of that connection. But Home Alone, fun fact, by the time the film had run its course in theaters, this film was the third highest grossing film of all time worldwide, behind only Star Wars and E.T.
I didn't know that one.
And Jaws, right? I thought Star Wars and Jaws were that might have been in the 90s.
Yeah, that was probably before this, or like the 80s.
Oh, maybe. But Home Alone, it was also the highest grossing Christmas film until it was surpassed by Dr. Seuss's The Grinch in 2018. So Home Alone was the king until 2018.
And that's the Jim Carrey version of The Grinch? Or no, that's the cartoon one?
That's the most recent version of The Grinch.
Which I still haven't seen.
No, we haven't seen that one. The Jim Carrey version of The Grinch. It's really good, but man, it's a long movie.
It is.
It goes on forever. And it comes from this itty bitty book. They gave everyone backstories and everyone gets an arc. It's like, whoa.
They did make a lot of movie out of, I mean, it's not a short book, but it's definitely not that long.
Yeah. And the costume is great. And Jim Carrey, I think he did a good job as the Grinch. He's always been kind of a goofy actor. So
yeah.
He definitely put his spin on that. But the Grinch is not on this list.
It is not. But another movie that involves lots of costumes and puppets, or Muppets, is The Muppets Christmas Carol.
See what you did there.
Yeah, which is a Christmas musical comedy adapted from the 1843 novel A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. It was released in 1992 and was directed by Brian Henson. It stars Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge, along with Muppet performers David Goles, Steve Whitmire, Jerry Nelson, and Frank Oz. This was the first Muppets film to be produced by Walt Disney Pictures, though Disney didn't acquire Jim Henson's studio, including the Muppets, until 2004. I want to say this was also like the first movie that they did after Jim died.
Yes, it was. He died in 1990.
Yeah. So this was also them saying that, hey, we can still make these guys work even without Jim. They're still cool and hip and relevant. And they are still cool, hip, and relevant.
The Muppets is one of those things that is really cool because it hasn't changed. There hasn't been a reboot. There has been a reboot. I will take a step back. There has been a reboot. There was a 2011 film that, quote, rebooted the franchise.
Yeah.
But all the characters were true to the original.
Well, and like, even though this was done in the early 90s, a lot of the special effects still hold up because they're very practical. So they don't have a ton of CGI stuff. So it's not like, oh, I've got this very pixelated something that's hanging out in the corner because we have to render it 10 more times with the new technology that we're dealing with. Everybody still holds up. And the jokes are still good too. I like it.
Yeah, the Muppets is one of those things, like I said, it's classic, it's timeless, because there's no special effects. There's no CGI. It's all Muppets. They're all, puppets. And they don't update the puppets. It's not like they change. Kermit the Frog is Kermit the Frog from the 70s, and he's the same as he was then, as he is in this movie, as he is now.
He gets a minor update every few years, but it's more just, well, we had to create a new puppet because this one was getting really worn.
Well, maybe, but you can't tell,
No,
right?
Correct.
And it's the same guy, although they fired that guy for Kermit. Disney fired him in like 2015 or something. So we're on our... Jim Henson himself played Kermit until he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what's his name? Steve Whitmer, who was, they call him like a apprentice, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He took that over until just recently.
Yeah, so Muppets Christmas Carol has a beloved book adaptation. I mean, everybody does an adaptation of A Christmas Carol. There's like 50,000 different adaptations of it, but it keeps it historic. It has an awesome narrator in Gonzo and Rizzo the Rat. It has Michael freaking Caine in it. It has double the Marleys, because you have the Marley brothers instead of just Marley.
Yes, the hecklers.
Yeah, and it has awesome songs. Because there's just one... Wait, no.
One more day till Christmas.
Because there's just one more sleep till Christmas. The tune was a bit off, but the sentiment was there. I mean, you can't not help sing that. And then they have the whole song about Mr. Humbug, because Mr. Scrooge. And there's no cheeses for us Mises.
It's a classic for sure.
Yeah. And When Love Is Gone, I had to tell you that song existed. So I used to watch this song when it aired on TV, because When Love Is Gone is a song that got cut from the actual theatrical release, but they put it back in as a like bonus thing whenever they would put it on TV. And so the first time I watched it when we got our DVD, I was like, something's missing. And then I went through all the special features and I was like, it's that song. They cut out the song, where you find out why Mr. Scrooge is so Scroogey.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this movie did okay at the box office, but it was also up against Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, and the original Aladdin.
It didn't really have a chance then.
Which those two films were very iconic for the time.
Yeah.
Aladdin especially. Is there anything else you would like to say about the Muppet Christmas Carols?
We're watching it this week.
Yeah, I bet Lily would like it. We were watching the special features like a couple years ago or whatever, and I think they made a big deal about Kermit the Frog tap dancing, like the full...
Because you can see the full Kermit.
Yeah, and they made a big deal about that because that was the first time that they did that.
It's hard to do because Kermit is very spindly. There's not a whole lot to him. The only thing is you can't watch the Muppets and then watch Sesame Street right afterwards. You have to give yourself some time in between the two.
Why is that?
Because a lot of the voices sound very similar.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like Grover and Miss Piggy sound pretty close. Sometimes they have similar attitudes. So you got to like definitely have your eyes open so you can split the two in your mind.
I think they're all voiced by the same people.
Very similar people, yes.
I mean, Frank Oz was very involved in Sesame Street at the beginning.
He was, yes.
Well, I say the beginning. It's been 50 years.
Yeah.
So probably like, you think he retired from Sesame Street in like the 2005-ish range.
That sounds about right.
So the next one on the list in released order is The Santa Claus, released in 1994, directed by John Pasquin. It is starring Tim Allen, Wendy Crewson, David Krumholtz, Judge Reinhold, Eric Lloyd, and Peter Boyle. The Santa Claus is just like Home Alone and just like National Lampoon. I wasn't old enough to see it in the theaters, but it is one of those movies that we all gathered around during the holidays as a family to watch in our home on the TV.
Yeah, I would say this one and Home Alone are probably the two that I watched the most when I was a kid. I watched the Santa Claus a lot.
We watched it on VHS.
Probably. I don't think we didn't own it though. I might have borrowed it from my great aunt. I borrowed a lot of VHS tapes from her. So Santa Claus is great because it has a lot of kids that are playing elves. I liked the in the jail scene where the elves are tying up the cop and he's like, "What are you kids doing?" And they're like, "We're not kids. We're elves with attitude."
Oh yeah. And they use tinsel.
Yeah. And then the guy that's in the drunk tank is like, "Hey, can I get some of that tinsel?"
They use tinsel to cut through the steel bars. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And Tim Allen's like, "What do I do if I fall off a roof?"
Yeah.
Oh no, they're like, "You have fireproof suit, you have a sleigh with all this technology, you have
a hot cocoa maker in your sleigh,
you have radios in your hat." And
Isn't this awesome?
And Tim Allen's like, "What do I do if I fall off the roof?"
Because that's how he got the job.
It's really funny. He does a really good job in that movie.
He does.
And that was just at the beginning of his Disney career. He was just starting Home Improvement, I think.
That would sound about right.
And then he already recorded Toy Story at that point too, but that wasn't released until later.
Well, yeah, it takes a long time to do the animation.
Yeah, so it still holds up to today. We watched it the other day, although I fell asleep. But it's really funny. Another great Christmas movie.
It is.
And then the fifth movie that we wanted to talk about was Elf.
I love me some Elf. Directed by Jon Favreau. Yes, that Jon Favreau. Starring Will Ferrell and James Caan with Zooey Deschanel, Mary Steenburgen, Daniel Tay, Bob Newhart, and Ed Asner. It has a very big cast.
Yeah, and Will Ferrell is a SNL alum, comedian.
Yeah.
He is not the drummer from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, although he looks similar to Chad.
Have you seen them in the same room?
I have. They did a drum off.
Ah, okay.
That was a thing a while back. I don't remember how long ago that was. And then Zooey Deschanel, sister of I don't know her sister's name.
Sister of Emily Deschanel.
Sister of Emily Deschanel, who is in the cast of Bones.
Yeah.
And then Zoe had her own show called The New Girl.
Yep. And let me see when that release date was. It was a while after this. So this was when we learned that Zooey Deschanel could sing.
Yeah, Zoe could always sing. She's in a band, or she was in a band.
Yeah, because in 2011, she did most of the soundtrack for the Winnie the Pooh movie when they rebooted Winnie the Pooh. And me and a bunch of my friends in college that I had been friends with these people since middle school, we all went and saw it in the movie theater, and all these parents with their small children were like, "What are you people doing?" As we're laughing at all of the adult jokes in the movie and all of the kids' jokes in the movie.
Not a whole lot of adult jokes.
No.
It's just like the Olaf.
It's like stuff that'll go over kids' heads, not stuff that's inappropriate.
It's the Olaf, what does he say? Summer is a time to cuddle.
Oh, winter's a good time to stay home and cuddle, but put me in summer and I'll be a
happy
snowman.
Yeah, that stuff like that goes over kids' heads. It's not like dirty.
Until kids are really good at rhyming.
Yeah, it's not like dirty.
Yeah, mostly it's stuff that Rabbit says. And we were teaching the children how to react to movies because their parents were being boring.
Yeah, I did not go to that.
No, you did not.
But we just watched that movie, actually. The Winnie the Pooh movie, which is, again, derailing from this conversation. But Winnie the Pooh is another property that the characters just do not change.
Nope. They have their personalities, but they also have very distinct personalities, and I think that helps.
Yeah.
Because even when the art changes, they're still them.
Well, the art hasn't really changed. They just kind of updated the animation. But I remember watching the Winnie the Pooh TV series. And like you said, the personalities, they were pretty distinct back then as they were in this movie. So they did a really good job keeping that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of movies these days, they tend to reboot and reimagine characters. But Winnie the Pooh and the Muppets,
They're doing them right.
they tend to say, I haven't seen the latest Muppets Most Wanted, or did they do one after that?
I don't think so, but I think they have a TV show. Maybe
They did have a
There's
like
Disney Plus something.
well, maybe they had a show on ABC.
Yeah, that's different. They have a Disney Plus thing too.
So maybe and it was kind of like an Office spinoff where they talk to the camera and stuff.
Yeah, but back to Elf, Christmas movie, focusing.
It's a movie that knows it's a movie. Like
Yeah.
it's a parody of itself. There's the snowman from Frosty.
Is that no? It's not Frosty. It's something else. Or is it? Oh, it's the claymation Frosty. No, is it the claymation Rudolph?
Maybe, yeah, it's the claymation Rudolph.
Yeah,
That's it.
it's the snowman from the claymation Rudolph.
And then there's a narwhal.
Yeah, there's Narwhal. They've got all this, and he's like, "Bye, buddy. I hope you find your dad."
So
That one also has a lot of very quotable things in it.
yeah.
Call me Elf one more time.
Yeah. That's really funny. They who's that actor? Is that on the list?
Oh, Peter Dinklage? I think that's Peter from Game of Thrones. He's not going to be on that list.
It was more of a cameo than anything.
Yeah, but that was before Game of Thrones was a thing. So I don't know what he was in before that.
No, Elf is a really funny movie. My favorite scene is the mailroom. And he goes into his dad's office and he answers the phone. Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?
Yeah.
It's like, you're so ridiculous.
He's a lot, yeah.
And
It's a good character for Will Ferrell.
He goes to New York and there's a sign on a coffee.
World's best coffee. Congratulations,
Like a
guys.
diner, yeah.
You did it.
He's just like completely out of it. But I did not know that Jon Favreau directed this movie.
Yes.
Or maybe I did know that, but I forgot it because he's literally in the movie.
Yeah.
At least for a scene, which I know you can direct and be in film in a movie or a TV show. People do that all the time. But
Are you also aware that he directed Iron Man?
I am, yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, I am aware that he puts himself in that. I just didn't realize that or maybe I did realize and I forgot. And then I realized when you brought it up for this episode. It's just not something that fits his modern profile as much because he's been doing Marvel films, like action films.
Yeah, he's been doing Marvel and Star Wars.
Now he's doing Star Wars, which is, again, action, not Christmas family movies. So it's not something that...
So The Mandalorian is about family, about your found family.
It's about Baby Yoda.
All hail sweet, sweet Baby Yoda.
So those are our top 5 Christmas movies. We have a bonus Christmas movie, though, because we feel strongly that this movie is, in fact, a Christmas movie. And what movie is that?
Die Hard. One of the greatest Christmas movies ever.
It is.
It was released in 1988, directed by John McRearan, based on the 1979 novel Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe. It stars Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman, Alexander Godunov. It sounds very Russian. And Bonnie Bedelia. So, from a very reliable source, as called in one of my podcasts, little known website, wikipedia.org. Did you just snort?
Yes.
There has been much debate over whether Die Hard is a Christmas film. Those in favor argue that its Christmas setting is sufficient to qualify it as a Christmas film. Those opposed argue that it is an action film whose events happen to take place at Christmas.
False. So my argument is this movie would not exist if Christmas didn't happen.
If there wasn't a Christmas party, he wouldn't be there.
Yeah, so the plot points in this movie
heavily rely upon Christmas.
Heavily upon Christmas Eve. though not Christmas Day. But Home Alone is also a film that takes place around the holidays.
But it's about a small child. One could argue it's just a movie about a small child thwarting some burglars. The time of year doesn't necessarily matter, but it takes place all during Christmas, therefore it is a Christmas film. But like, it could still happen during Easter if the family was going away for spring break instead of for Christmas.
But they aren't.
No, but they're gone for Christmas, so it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So, continuing on from wikipedia.org, a 2017 YouGov poll of over 5,000 UK citizens, that's still a small percentage, but whatever, determined that only 31% believed that Die Hard is a Christmas film.
They're wrong.
They are wrong. Those who did skewed under the age of 24, while those who opposed were mainly over 50.
Damn millennials.
That's the problem. They're all old. All the old folks said it wasn't a Christmas movie.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around.
No. A similar 2018 Morning Consult poll of 2,200 American citizens determined that only 25% support its status as a Christmas film.
Rigged.
Those aged between 30 and 44, who were young during the peak of the film's popularity, were most in favor. D'Souza and Stewart, who, as...
Were they producers?
Maybe they were producers because they're not listed in your thing up here.
Let's see, who are these guys?
3 days later.
Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza wrote the screenplay.
Okay, so D'Souza and Stewart, who wrote the screenplay, support it being a Christmas film, while Willis, who starred in the movie, feels it does not.
He's wrong.
He is wrong. On the film's 30th anniversary in 2018, 20th Century Fox stated that it was, quote, the greatest Christmas story ever told, end quote. That's correct. Releasing a re-edited Die Hard trailer that portrays it as a traditional Christmas film.
I need to look this up.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it. According to D'Souza, Silver predicted the film would be played at Christmas time for years.
That is the correct thing to do.
All I can say to that is, yippee-ki-yay,
I don't know what else to say. I mean, that is Die Hard is a Christmas film.
I mean, the plot is very similar to that of Home Alone. It is a person on their own trying to thwart some people who are bad. Just instead of using Christmas decorations, they're using
Fish hooks and ornaments and
they're
paint
using
cans.
guns because it's more age appropriate for the character in question. So, I mean, I feel like we solved this one.
We're not really having much of a debate because we agree.
Yeah, I mean, we both agree that Die Hard is in fact a Christmas movie.
When we were talking about what we wanted to talk about this week,
I was like, hey, Die Hard, Christmas movie, yes or no?
and I was like, yes.
And I was like, well, there goes our debate. But it's fine.
We both agree. And if you, dear listener, disagree, 1, you are wrong. 2, tell us what you think on our social medias. Slide into those DMs, as the kids say.
Or just into the comment section so we can make you cry in public. I don't know. As we prove you wrong.
Or email us at craftparentingpodcast@gmail.com.
I mean, these aren't all of the Christmas movies that we watch. These are the top few that we make sure to make a point of watching every year. There's some Sesame Street movie about Christmas Eve with Big Bird and Oscar and trying to figure out how Santa gets down chimneys.
Kermit the Frog is in that.
He is, as a reporter.
I think that was his debut as a reporter.
So we watched that a lot with Lily. There's another Sesame Street movie about Christmas that's more modern. We'll watch that on occasion too. Belle's Enchanted Christmas.
Well, those aren't movies. Those are more TV specials.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really count.
No.
I know we missed a couple. There's, of course, the classic It's a Wonderful Life.
We've watched that one so many times at this point, we're kind of over it.
My mom is obsessed with that one. And
people argue that my favorite things from The Sound of Music is a Christmas song. I don't get that.
I don't get that either. But they do play it
all the time
on the radio during their Christmas, when they do their Christmas playlist.
Yeah, like, please stop. No, thank you.
I know there's A Christmas Story.
I have not seen that movie all the way through.
Is that with Nicolas Cage?
That's the You'll Shoot Your Eye Out and the leg lamp and the tongue stuck to the flagpole. Like, I know things about it, but I haven't seen it all the way through. Someone's gonna fight me about that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. Of course, there's Miracle on 34th Street.
I haven't seen that one all the way through either.
There's the original, and then the little girl from Matilda. They remade it with her.
I like her. Maybe I'll watch her version.
Left Behind.
Nope, don't know about that one.
No, not Christ movie. movie. Christmas movie. The Family Man.
I don't know that one.
Basically, I think it's a ripoff of the a Christmas Carol,
Ah.
but it stars Nicolas Cage.
I mean, there's lots of stuff with Christmas Carol. There's a Krampus movie. Haven't seen that one yet. We need to watch that at some point. Though I think Erica said that we can skip that one.
I think those were the ones that we. Yeah, I'm not a. I'd never seen a Christmas.
A Charlie Brown Christmas. We watched Charlie Brown Christmas a lot too.
Well, that's a TV special.
Yeah.
We were limiting this to just movies.
Yeah.
Theatrical releases.
There's the Jim Carrey version of The Grinch, which we talked about.
Vaguely.
Yeah. I mean, this is the stuff that we make sure to see every year. But
I don't think Lily has the attention span for the Jim Carrey version of The Grinch.
I don't think she does either. One of these days.
Maybe the cartoon, like the original cartoon.
Yeah, because that one's pretty much true to the book.
So now is the part of the program where I release my inner dad and I tell a joke and attempt to make you laugh.
You've got this.
So, no yawning. Are you ready for this joke? Because I have a funny one.
Okay.
And it is Christmas themed, which is appropriate.
It is.
All right. So, what is the difference between the Christmas alphabet and the ordinary alphabet?
I don't know. What?
The Christmas alphabet has no L.
Oh my goodness. Then how do you spell your name? How do I spell my name?
Udwig. The L is silent.
Caroline. I don't know. Oh man, we need to bring the ship home. Close this out, Joe.
That does it for this week's show. Thanks so much for listening. We want to hear from you. If you have ideas for a show topic, if you have comments about a previous show, maybe you really liked it, or perhaps you learned something new. There are many ways to get in touch with us. You can send us an email at craftparentingpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Craft Parenting Podcast to get updates on when episodes have dropped, see pictures of our adorable kids, and more. Plus, we just launched a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
We are officially YouTubers.
Oh, snap.
And we are posting our back catalog of episodes to our YouTube channel, and we are doing premieres every day in December, starting at 9:30 a.m.
Nice.
Not on the weekends though, so just during the week.
Weekdays. Well, I mean, you need something to keep you busy at work.
So if you want to catch up on our catalog and you maybe
would prefer listening on the YouTubes instead of on the podcasting apps.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you can go there. So make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Smash that like button. Ring that notification bell.
Is that what the kids say?
I don't know.
Well,
I feel like one of the YouTube people that you listen to said that at one point.
Oh, everyone is like smash, smash, smash.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. Make sure you to share the show with your friends and family. It's what helps our show grow. You can also send us stuff to our awesome P.O. Box.
All of this information is available on our beautiful website, which is www.craftparentingpodcast.com. So go check it out.
That's where we post the show notes. Plus, there's tons of blog posts about some of the stuff that doesn't make it into the podcast.
If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the show. We are listed on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and just about every podcast app out there.
And now on YouTube.
And on YouTube. And with that, I'm Joe.
And I'm Caroline.
See you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast. Okay, we are recording. Sea lions.
I am talking so you can make sure that it is recording my voice. Don't pull a Josh or Julia.
Has she done that before?
She hits pause in the middle of recording and then forgets to unpause.
That's weird.
Yeah, she didn't do that during the episode that I was there, but she was very cognizant of not doing that while I was there.
Okay. So I count down.
Yes, you do. Talkie talkie talk, talkie talkie talk, talkie talkie talk, talkie talkie talk.
You bump up.
Did that do a thing? Did that do a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know
Maybe.
either.
It's the waves are a little bit bigger.
Talkie 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 talk.
Okay, let's do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Hey everyone.